Coming today as we, the members of City Council, some of the members of City Council, would like to go over a recap of the budget and what we voted for and the reasons why. I am Councilmember Maria Cabrera. I am an at-large council member as well as President Pro Tem. Our finance chair will be joining us shortly. So at this time, we do want to continue with the order of things, and I will be back to wrap up the press conference. And at this time, it is a pleasure for me to introduce the Vice Chair of the Finance Committee, Michelle Harley, Council Member in the 4th District. And to the right of me is Councilman White for the 1st District, and Councilmember Oliver with the 3rd District. Happy that they all join us. So at this time, our Vice Chair has a few words.
Thank you, Councilmember Cabrera. Good morning, everyone. I am Michelle Harley, and I represent the 4th Councilmatic District, and I am excited to be here today to join my City Council colleagues to share some highlights. We're just going to be sharing highlights of the fiscal year 2025 budget investments, not only in just a few of our communities, but across the city. Our budget this year, it definitely reflects City Council's commitment to our fiscal responsibilities and investments in the future of our communities, and as I shared earlier, in our city. Although I'm excited about all that we propose for the budget, I'm very excited about our successful neighborhood stabilization program investment that we have been involved in for the last 3 years, but this particular year, we have invested $1.5 million to continue to assist homeowners that qualify for home repairs. This has been one of the most successful programs that we have negotiated and proposed for the last 3 to 4 years that has really impacted our communities, and that we have been hearing back from the residents that they want this to continue to uplift our communities and make them better. This investment has proven to make an impact in our neighborhoods in many ways, including increasing property value and deterring crime. City Council's $2.150 million proposal will allow us to continue providing essential services, supporting economic growth, and enhancing the quality of life for all residents. I am confident that these strategic allocations will help us achieve our goals as we continue to move our city forward together with each one of you. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Councilmember Vincent White.
Thank you. Councilmember Johnson's here. You want to come? Hello, I'm Councilman White, 1st District. The negotiation process regarding the budget took about 7 weeks and involved many hours, chaired by Councilman Johnson and Councilwoman Harley. In negotiations, you don't get everything that you want. And so we didn't get everything that we wanted out of this budget, but we got a lot. One of the initiatives that we put $350,000 into the Office of Economic Development to strengthen and further economic investment by minority business owners. This is important because we know as the city goes, so goes the retail environment. We are in a crisis in terms of contracting and finding minority contractors, and council felt that this initiative would be good to continue that path. Last year's budget was again about $350,000 and was consumed within the first 9 months. One of the things that we did not successfully negotiate was youth entrepreneurial monies. The council had proposed that we set aside more than $500,000 to strengthen and create youth entrepreneurial activities through the city. Unfortunately, it did not make its way into this year's budget. We are hopeful that it will make its way into next year's budget. But these are the few things that council is more than prepared to do and qualify. We've listened to the needs of our constituents, whether they be in the 1st, 5th, 7th or at large in terms of strategic opportunities to move dollars that this city has on behalf of its constituents. So with that said, I'm going to turn this over to Chairman Johnson at this time.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Councilman White. And also thank Councilwoman Cabrera, Councilwoman Oliver, and our Vice Chair Harley for giving the highlights of why we're here. Now, you're probably asking, well, what's coming? What's new? And so what we're looking at is not only getting this money in the community, but also looking at future projects. And as Councilman White said, we're looking at how do we double down investing in our community. So right now, some of you may or may not be aware, there's a potential huge tens of $million project right down the way at the Bracebridge building. That is going to be a game changer because we're talking about not only bringing Delaware State University, bring a law school in our city, and also bring other educational opportunities in our city. This is a project that is soon there's going to be more information about it, but the city is looking at right now committing $10 million to doubling down on educational opportunities in our city. We did have DCAD recently, unfortunately closed, but we're looking at is building a educational hub because that is what thriving cities have, and we as City Council are focused on building our city back from COVID and making it better. So those are some of the highlights. Besides getting money directly to our neighbors, infusing, whether it's home repair money, water assistance funds, home ownership funds, we're getting money directly to citizens. But we got to bring people back in the city. We got to bring spending, bring investment. The Minority and Small Business Fund we just replenished. We got to make sure that as the small people, the small businesses, the brick and mortar shops are taken care of. So that's our goal. It's been our goal the past 4 years. It's been part of our strategic vision. And really now it's just a kind of capstone on, if we look back, over $100 million invested in neighborhood stabilization. So for us, it's about focusing on the future and what we look forward to even the next 4 years and beyond that, and what our city can be. And it's about reimagining our city, not looking at what's happened in the past, but how can we have an ecosystem that everyone can thrive, every neighborhood, not just Riverfront, not just the big law firms, but every business, small business and creative in our city. So that's been our goal, and I thank my team and the leadership team, along with our council president, and working to make this happen. So at this time, we are available for just some brief question session. After Councilwoman Cabrera talks about, she's going to talk about the land bank and a little bit about what they're doing, because they're also making some big moves, and then we'll go into question and answer.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chairman Johnson. A budget is a reflection of the priorities of those who put it forth. And as you heard my council colleagues speak on our priorities, and there's a lot that we did with this budget, too many things to mention. I do want to mention HBCU, that we doubled down on the monies that we have put into that program. 2,000 Wilmington students, as well as others, are taking advantage of that scholarship dollars. When we see the violence in our community and the youth involved, we have to give them opportunities, and that's what this does. Of course, there's more that needs to be done, and we're looking to expand more facilities where they have places to go after school. But at least we know that within education, they have an opportunity to excel. So that's one of the priorities. We talked about neighborhood stabilization in different ways that we have put money into that funding, as Councilmember Harley mentioned. With funding the land bank, the city, and leveraging those dollars from the state, as well as private investment that has come through, the land bank has been able to double down on its efforts. In the Lower Hilltop area alone, 40 properties, there's 40 vacant properties. The land bank bought 32 of them, and 14 of them, 7 have already sold, 7 more are on the agenda to be sold. I believe one of them closed yesterday. They're not even lasting more than 2 weeks. So we are trying to deal with that issue of housing, affordable housing in Wilmington, because these homes are affordable. There was a lot of conversation about people not being able to afford utilities such as the water bill. And as much as we would love to not have to bill for the water bill, this is an important infrastructure of the city. We are responsible for having clean water. We are now undertaking a huge project. Wilmington is 100 years old. We're removing lead from our pipes. We are replacing these pipes, as you may have seen in your neighborhoods. In April, the first week in April, we were at the White House, and a new mandate has been issued to remove PFAS from the water, which comes with an $80 million price tag. How are we going to pay for that? Because it's an unfunded price tag. So these are the things that we're looking at, how we can improve our neighborhoods, make sure that you have clean water. And if someone stated that if we fix our pipes and make it desirable to live in Wilmington, I would think that's a good thing, but they saw that as a way of gentrification and that other people will move in and we'll move the poor people out. So what does that say? That the poor people shouldn't have clean water, that they shouldn't have lead-free pipes? So I'm going to leave it on that, just to say that we are investing in many things in our city. Councilmember Oliver wanted me to mention that we're going to get those soft, what are they called, the soft speed bumps, to bring traffic down a little bit, slow things down, so we are a safer neighborhoods. So thank you so much for being here today. At this time, we will take a question from the press, and we appreciate you coming out in the middle of your day. Thank you so much.
Yes. Yes.
You mentioned President Biden said, do you see this as a significant blow to the city, loss of the Delaware County Park and Die, and are you working on any kind of ritual, or is it just one of those things that reflects national trends for Delaware County and all that stuff?
Well, it's a problem. I mean, everyone's dealing with nationally in terms of downtown, and when we have to look at our school systems and obviously educational opportunities, it's a shifting environment. So I don't know the specifics of DCAD and exactly what happened, but the actual the Bracebridge project has been a long time in the making. The new bridge hub has been a long time in the making, as well as big projects like Insight that's coming in town. So those have been already before DCAD was announced. Next question. So that's a public safety is of course our #1 priority on council, and this has been one of the hardest things we've dealt with this budget cycle. St. Francis is still currently a partner. That's all I'm at liberty to say right now. Finding first responders in general has been a difficulty for all government agencies, local, state, and federal. So we're going to do the most we can to find the best and brightest. Work with St. Francis. We may explore in the future bringing it in-house with the fire department. That was in the works. That was held off for a little bit, but it's something we are still talking with the administration about in future administrations.
What happened with that? Did it come up in the budget, expenditure and such? What happened after that?
It was in a budget, and again, it was through negotiations. St. Francis will be continuing their services for the next fiscal year.
And then, when does your fiscal year run?
It runs July 1st to June 30th. So we're just getting ready to go and finishing out the last fiscal year and going into the new one soon.
Will that be the same service or curtailed service?
The same level of services from St. Francis. Next question.
What is Wilmington's waterfall like in terms of the cost? Where do you guys kind of stand there so far? How much work is left to be done?
Okay, well, in terms of the actual, I would need Commissioner Kelly Williams to elaborate on numbers. I don't know what the levels we're at. I know they're at safe levels. Pursuant to our budget hearings, if you look at, this question was brought up, we are at safe levels, but obviously with the new standards, we're going to have to comply with the federal guidelines. So we have to remove even more PFAS from our drinking waters.
Is any of that put into the budget this year? Any additional money for possibilities coming particularly?
No, and as Councilwoman Cabrera said, unfortunately, it's an unfunded mandate.
Well, see, when we look at the money that we do have to invest into the infrastructure of the city, the money that's in the budget, the current budget, reflects the ongoing work that we have in construction with waters. This was something that was just announced in April. We haven't been given a date and time, so it's something that's in the works, but we just happen to be reporting on the ARPA monies and what we did and the investments we made in our city, and President Biden came in and spoke to us, gave us a tour of the Oval Office. So that came up, and we obviously are going to push to try to get funding and help with that. But when we're trying to keep the water affordable, which out of in the region, Wilmington still is the most affordable. I was just recently reading, I believe it was last night or the night before, that artisans, they had to have a community meeting because they're raising their water rates by 15.5%. At the end of the day, I think that Wilmington is doing a good job to set the priorities, and I think the health, because we already know we have health issues in our city. The health issues of our community is important, and we should have good infrastructure to do that, and that has to be paid for. But at the same time, one of the things we didn't mention is that for the people who are having difficulty in paying their water bill, we upped the fund from $250,000 to $350,000. And to be quite honest with you, the money from last year just began to get used in the month of February and March. And if we have to look at the standards at the poverty level and raise them so more people can participate, that is something that's in discussion now, because we want water to be accessible, because it is a right. But unfortunately, if certain people don't pay for water, guess what the other constituents said, because we do have 72,000 people in the city, that they're not going to pay their water bill either. So it's about a balance, and I believe that we as council work really hard to deliver that balance and to be thoughtful about each of our constituents. Because what you do to the least of our brother, you do unto all. So we got to take care of everyone in the city of Wilmington, and we have to balance it out. That is our duty.
We have time for one more question. One more question.
From the press.
The press. Any more questions? All right. Well, at this time we are running low on time. Again, we'll take questions on City Council. Feel free to email us, let us know, come to the committee hearings. And I would thank the press, everyone from the community for coming. And again, we're here that we can talk offline about this conversation more as we move forward to the city. And thank my colleagues.